Hi everybody, and welcome to the Voices of Experience Digital Media Project. My name is Christopher Leslie, and I'm one of the directors for Inside Out Support Wales, who are bringing you this fantastic new project. We have got together a series of interviews with people that have got lived experience detailing their journey. We hope you find the interviews as inspirational as we found shooting them. Enjoy.
So my name's Victoria, I'm 29 years old and I'm from South East London. I am currently in my last week of university, so I've just finished a psychology degree and I am a girls coordinator for the St Giles Trust and mentor.
How long did you spend in prison?
So all in all I spent, you could say, 6 years in prison altogether. So I was incarcerated and involved in trial from 2010 till 2017.
So what do you do now and why would you say you're good at it?
Okay, so I work for the St Giles Trust and I work under a program called SOS Plus. So what we do is we try to deter young people from being involved in gangs. So we do that through prevention, going into schools, giving speech workshops on gang involvement, county lines, child sexual exploitation, and we have basically last year created a female focused program, and that's what I take charge of. So I'm the girls program coordinator within SOS Plus, and I make the same programs that we have for the mixed cohort, but specifically for females, as well as doing some mixed groups. And I also take charge of the one-to-one mentoring and mainly focused on female work. I also am an embedded mentor within a school. So I am within a school in Luton and I basically do one-to-one work with the school children there. So you can say from year 7 till all the way to year 11. And I also carry out those same specific workshops, but for the female focused, for the females in that school. And I studied a psychology degree. I've just finished my dissertation, which was again around my interest, which is females, the push and pull factors as to why females join gangs and what will deter them to exiting gangs. And I think what makes me do the job that I do is because of my lived experience. I myself was a female involved in gangs, which led to my arrest. And I just realised whilst being incarcerated that there's so many other females that go through what I went through, especially being a foster care child, and they just don't speak about these issues, and who better to speak about or to get led by someone who's actually done the time and done the same things that they've done.
How did you end up in this field? So what was the sort of path you took out of prison into the work you do today?
Okay, so in prison, funny enough, I did a program. I was a worker for a program called Keep Out. So what we did is the young girls 13 to 18 would come into the prison for the day, and we do workshops around consequences, victims and responsibility. And I think really speaking with the girls on a one-to-one, I'll be honest with you, I did it because I was just like, I heard it looks good for Rottle. So I was just like, okay, cool, let me do this, that'd be a coordinator, look good for Rottle. But I actually really enjoyed the work that I did and enjoyed working with the young girls. And it was really inspiring, especially when you see the girls leave and actually you can tell that their mindset has changed just from those couple of hours. And I think for me personally, I do love that approach. However, I do love working with someone on an ongoing basis. And yeah, so I worked with St Giles Trust also on Rottle in the Advice Centre. And the job came about funny enough, the job came about for a different role, and I got to the interview. I did a good interview, but I came second to the person that got the role. And then SOS Plus was just like, oh, yep, she's already got a good interview, so let me sweep her up. And I'm grateful because now I've do the job that I do.
So when did you decide to make the transition from the old life to the life you've created now?
I definitely say it was in prison. I would 100% say Keep Out helped that. But I would be lying if I would say prison changed me. Prison didn't change me at first. Like for my first 2-3 years, I was still same mindset Victoria. I'm not saying I would have came out and been in a gang, but I wasn't grown up. I didn't mature until my biological mother passed away, unfortunately, whilst I was inside. And I think that hit me hard because it was just like I wasn't allowed to go to the funeral because I was deemed as high risk. I didn't really get to spend time. I didn't know her. That was one of the main relationships that I wanted to build when I came out of jail. And it just made me realize that, do you know what? Time will pass you by being in jail. I can't be her again. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And then I have little foster sisters and my little nieces and nephews. And I just thought I would never want them to be that person. So I think that's when my change happened.
And how did you find making the transition in prison?
It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. That would be a lie to say it was easy. I had to help myself a lot. I had to realize that I couldn't have that victim mindset and, oh, probation's not helping me or this officer's not helping me. I had to make that help a lot. I had to chase probation for certain things. I had to chase officers for certain things. I had to do my own research on certain things. I had to like call my dad, ask him, oh, how do I do this? Read certain books or go to certain organizations within the prison. So it wasn't hard. It wasn't easy, but it wasn't hard at the same time because I was dedicated to the change, if that makes sense. So I was dedicated that I'm not going to come out the same person that I came in to be. So it wasn't easy, but it was rewarding. I can say it was rewarding.
What hurdles did you find on the way, or obstacles to your transition?
Oh God, probation. Probation was hard. It's hard because it's like, especially being someone who's got a conviction on black and white, a lot of people read who you are on black and white, but you know you're not that person. Because I always say, like, it can take a day and someone's life can change and they could end up escalating jail or end up in certain other circumstances. And I think a lot of people took me to who they read on paper and not for who I was. So I felt like I had to prove myself a lot. I had to prove that I have changed. Like, yeah, I understand what this says and what my conviction is or who I am. And you might think I'm a criminal, but I'm not that person anymore. Also, all of those high risk, low risk, probation things, all these things that you've got to go through. So I think the hurdle of understanding patience.
So how you said about proving yourself to probation. So
Yeah.
how did you go about, say, proving yourself or trying to reduce the stigma around your conviction?
I think it was just giving them that, how can I put that? I kind of proved myself by being active, if that makes sense. So there was a lot of things that I didn't wait on them for. I would go to my probation meetings with, okay, cool, I've got this, this is what I need to do. And I was very active in my own change. I found this organization, I'm gonna go and get my driver's license. This is what I found out. This is what I need help with. So I didn't wait for someone. I think that was a big way how I proved myself to probation. They really found that I could work by myself, but also alongside with them and keep them up in the loop with it. Because it was really hard going into jail. I mean, I was in foster care, and I'm not saying that my foster care wasn't great. It was great, but I was very independent. So to have to, with probation, you have to keep up with probation, speak to them about everything that you're doing. I found that hard in the beginning. Like they'll be like, oh, so you did that, you didn't tell us, and you're untrustworthy. So it's just having to change my mindset and be active and proactive, yeah.
Did you find adequate support for yourself while making your transition?
From other people?
From other people, the criminal justice system in general, whoever in your life?
I can't say no, but I can't say yes. I feel like it's out there, but you have to search. And I think that's what's really bad, is that you have to search. And it's daunting because the support that can be given isn't willingly given, if that makes sense. Like, not everyone advertises that they can do this, that they can do that for you. Like, for example, I found like an organization that helped with the driver's license. No one ever told me about that. I literally had to find that out on Google for criminals coming out of jail, for people coming out of jail, excuse me, not criminals, for people coming out of jail. So yeah, so the support, I'd say it's there, but you really have to look. But then it depends, because then you find some organizations like St. Giles Trust, like Longford Trust, like Women in Prison, who do actually help. But it's, like I say, it's not at the forefront, it's not advertised as much.
So how would you advise someone searching for it in your position? What would you advise them to do?
I'd advise them not to give up and to speak to as many people as they can. I think that's what's hard, and that's something that I did, and I had to get over that. I gave up at a certain time because I was thinking, this is long, like it's long, like no one wants to help me. But I advise them not to help up, and I advise them to always go for second opinions and always speak to other people. Don't go on what one person says, and as it might sound, whatever it sounds, don't go on only what probation says, because there's other organisations that can help you that what probation don't know about. So you always think that, oh, my probation worker is my first go-to, but there's other people that can help you and that can help probation understand that there's more for you out there.
So is there any other advice you'd give someone thinking of making a transition or thinking of changing their lives while in prison?
I'd say my main advice is to understand yourself. Understand why you are an offender. Understand your trauma, if it's trauma related, if it's something specific related. Understand yourself and then work from there. Until you understand yourself, you can't make that change because you don't know what you need to change, if that makes sense. And I would say do it. Like, it is rewarding. As hard as it is, doing that, knowing that you have the advice I can give you is that you have a story to tell. Everyone has a story to tell. Don't ever think that you want to come out and just go under the radar or do a simple 9 to 5. No, use your lived experience. Use your lived experience to help others because you are qualified. You have persistence. You have all of these qualities that you don't see because they deem you as an offender, but you're not an offender. You're someone who's walked a different path in life, but you're still going to get to where everyone else gets to at the end of the day.
So how would you rate your quality of life now as opposed to before your transition?
It's better. I guess I'm outside that drive, no joking. My quality of life, it's, I will always use the word, it's more rewarding. I have a purpose of life now. I feel like before going into jail, like I always say, I went into jail very young, so 18, so I didn't know what I wanted to do with life. But now I just feel like there's a purpose for life and it keeps me going in things that I do, if that makes sense. Like everything I do now, I do it knowing that, okay, cool, like what is my purpose or how can I help someone else, or this is just not for me. Do you get what I mean? My knowledge and my lived experience is not for me to just keep and talk to with my friends about, but it's for other people. So I think my quality of life is definitely better.
Final question, are you proud of yourself?
I am proud of myself. I'm very hard on myself, and it is very hard. Like, I will not lie and say that, oh yeah, I'm always like tooting my own horn or can get in my congratulations, but I'm proud that I've changed. Do you get what I mean? And I'm proud of the person that I'm going to be. Like, I always look one step ahead. Like, I do take in time now and think, yeah, you're doing well, Victoria, but definitely the person that I'm going to be, I'm definitely proud of her already.